Hey everybody, welcome back to Sisters at the Cinema. This is Amanda,
And this is Valerie.
and today we are talking about the 2008 musical comedy Soul Men.
Yeah.
Y'all ready for some laughs?
We
I know I am.
always bring the laughs, regardless of the movie.
That's right. Well, we got a good comedy today
Yep.
with two legendary main characters,
Yeah.
or the actors playing the main characters. Um, so I'm excited to talk about this one. It's Black History Month, and
Yeah.
um, we got some stars in this one.
Some icons.
There we
Okay.
go.
The
That's the
legends.
word.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So a quick little synopsis. Pulled this off of IMDb as usual. Says, though it's been about 20 years since they have spoken with one another, two estranged soul singing legends agreed to participate in a reunion performance at the Apollo Theater to honor their recently deceased band leader.
Yep.
And like I said, we've got two legends here. I mean, Samuel L. Jackson.
Mm-hmm. Incomparable.
Need I say more?
Mm,
Right.
right. Uh-huh.
Uh, he been in everything.
Mm-hmm.
And he does everything:
Everything.
comedy, drama.
Super Bowls.
Has he done Broadway? He's done Broadway, right?
I didn't say Broadway, but he has done Broadway. I think he was in
Broadway.
the
Mm.
piano lesson on Broadway. And then he was in the
Oh,
movie.
right. And
Yeah.
now the movie. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And the Super Bowl, like you said.
Right. He said he do everything. What you need me to do?
Right. And then we have the late great Bernie Mac.
I know. I
Um,
love Bernie Mac so much.
so much. And this movie just reminded me um of how good he was.
He was so, I mean, so good.
Yep. Unfortunately, he passed before this movie was released.
Mm,
Um, so this was, I guess, his last film,
okay.
quite possibly.
Yeah.
And then we have Sharon Leal.
Mm-hmm.
We saw her in This Christmas.
Yep.
She's really good. And then we do have a couple of white folks. Adam Hirschman plays Philip, and Sean Hayes plays Danny Epstein. I don't know Adam, but I know Sean Hayes played in that comedy back in the day.
I
Was it Will
know.
and
I
Grace
think
or
it was.
something
Yeah.
like that?
Yep. Yep.
No, I
That's
didn't
it.
watch that one, but
I saw a
it
couple
was pretty
episodes.
popular.
Yeah.
And then I can't help but mention Afion
You
Crockett,
got to.
who was also in here as
Mm-hmm.
Lester,
Yeah.
and a couple of more names I'm gonna mention real quick. We had Mike Epps as
Oh, yeah.
Dwayne Henderson,
Mm-hmm.
John Legend as Marcus
Yes.
Hooks,
Yes.
and Isaac Hayes, who played himself, and he
Yeah.
also passed away before this movie was released.
Right.
According to Wikipedia, he and Bernie Mac passed away within a day of each other.
Oh, wow.
I didn't remember that.
Me either.
That's
Mm,
crazy.
it is.
Yep. But you ready to dive into this?
I'm ready.
All right, go and kick us off.
Okay. Well, the movie starts with a narrator, and he's talking about a young male singing group on the streets of Memphis. Then we see the same group all grown up performing, and like Amanda said, John Legend, his character is leading. His name is Marcus, and Bernie Mac and Samuel L. Jackson's characters are singing in the background. So we
Hmm.
got Floyd and Louis. Um, so they show us like an album cover, and it's Marcus Hooks and the Real Deal. So, just like all the Diana Ross and Supremes, all those things.
Mhm.
Yeah, so Marcus was the lead, and they were the real deal.
Mhm.
And so then we see clips of them throughout the years. And then they say, though, it all ended in 1977 when
Mhm.
Marcus left the group to go solo.
Which happened a lot, I feel like.
Oh, a lot. Yeah.
Even now, honestly. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
Beyonce.
Yeah. Some people don't even know. My
Uh,
son didn't know she was in a group.
oh my lord. These youngsters.
I don't know nothing.
wow.
It was like, oh, Beyonce was in a group? Yes, dear.
That's insane.
Destiny's Child.
That's insane.
Yeah, was it that long ago?
No, because we went to their farewell tour.
Yeah. Okay.
We ain't that old.
Ah, so Marcus's career goes on and on. He's included in the Hall of Fame. Meanwhile, the real deal, they made it for a couple more years, but then they broke up in 1979. So then we see Samuel's character, Louis Hines. He's robbing a bank
Mm.
and gets arrested. He all on the news, okay? Embarrassing. And Bernie's character is Floyd Henderson, and he has, I thought it was a car dealership, but I think it's a car
The car
wash.
wash. Yep.
Yeah. With all of these scantily clad women washing the
Hmm.
cars. He has a whole commercial and everything. And so I'm sure he making money, okay?
right.
Because
Yep.
yeah, I'm sure it's very popular.
Hmm.
Ah. So then we see Floyd's nephew, who Amanda was talking about, is Mike Epps. I don't remember his character name though.
Dwayne.
Dwayne. Okay, because he's
Yep.
only in here for a little bit.
Right. And now it's been about what, 20 years, I guess.
Okay.
Maybe a little bit more.
Yeah.
Since the group broke up.
Okay. And so Dwayne is dropping him off at a retirement home. Now, it's a very nice.
Right. Very
This is not
nice.
your average retirement home. So this lets you know too how well he did.
With them
You
car
know,
washes.
yes. Because I wouldn't mind staying there myself, okay?
right. Yep.
Um, and so he doesn't want to be there. But his nephew going on and on about all the amenities. Floyd is not impressed, okay? But we find out too that the nephew is taking over the car wash business.
hmm
And so he's telling him, you need to enjoy your golden years. So when he gets ready to go, he tells Floyd to go say bye to his wife and kids. And Floyd says, F them kids.
mm.
And Dwayne said, F the kids.
right. So now we see what Floyd's life is like in this bomb retirement community.
Mm-hmm.
He's playing golf, literally living his best life, but for
Yeah.
some reason he is still very unhappy.
Well, that's not what he want to do.
Right. I mean, he even had some neighbor walking down the street waving hi to him, and the next thing
Mm-hmm.
you know it, they in the bed together.
Mm-hmm. They getting it on. On and
right.
popping, as they say.
Yep. So Floyd is living it up.
Mm-hmm.
But he's having problems sleeping.
Yeah.
And so he goes to the doctor, and the doctor is like, well, he doesn't say it outright, but we know that's what he means. He's like, well, I'm gonna have to give you a prostate exam.
Oh, right. Mm-hmm.
And Floyd is like, that ain't why I came here.
Okay. I don't think any man likes that prostate exam. Okay. Especially,
right.
especially coming from a dude.
Ain't that the truth?
They're not about that life.
Right. And the doctor's like, your sleep problem could be from anything. We need to check all our options.
Yeah.
And so he gets a prostate exam
Mm-hmm.
and he starts singing
Yep.
while the doctor's back there. And his voice gets higher and
Uh-huh.
higher.
Yep. He getting all them high notes.
right. As the doctor's doing what he need to do.
Mm-hmm.
And so when he leaves the doctor tells him he didn't find anything and
Yeah.
that he's just gonna give him some sleeping pills. And he goes to shake his hand, and Floyd is like, "I'm not touching that."
Pretty much. He gave him that elbow.
Right, your hand was all up in me.
Okay. He like, I'm good.
Right. And so the doctor, before Floyd leaves, he's like, "Now don't mix those sleeping pills with any alcohol unless you want to die."
Mm-hmm.
And then
Exactly.
the next scene, we see him with his bottle of sleeping pills and a bottle of alcohol.
Brown liquor. Okay. He ready to give it all. That
Poor,
doggone retirement home and all of that.
right.
He like, this is not what
Poor,
I signed up for.
poor Floyd.
Mm-hmm.
Even the forecast um, on the TV is boring. It's
Oh,
like 81 every day of the week, sunny and shining. ain't nothing,
that's funny. I didn't even pay
ain't
that any
nothing
attention.
exciting, right?
Right.
And so he's sitting there watching the TV, just like, "This my life."
Yeah.
And then
Hmm.
all of a sudden, a news flash comes up that his old singing buddy Marcus has died of a heart attack.
Yeah.
Mm.
And we see Floyd spit out all these pills. I was like, dog,
right.
he was serious.
right.
But yeah, poor little Marcus.
Hmm.
Going on to be with somebody.
Yep.
So next we see Lewis, and he's working as a mechanic, and he gets a phone call. His manager, boss, somebody, he asks him, he brings him the phone, but he asks him if he's dealing. Like, who would be using the work phone to
Right.
deal dope anyway? But
Mm.
not only that, he calls him a black monkey.
Yikes.
Mm. And next thing you know, Lewis has him pinned up against the wall with that telephone cord around his neck. And
Understandably so,
understandably so. And dude is terrified. So I
as he
bet
should
he,
be.
yeah, you deserve all of this. I bet he thinks twice next time.
Uh-huh.
And so the call is from, was it his old manager or somebody?
Yeah. I think the son of his old
The son
manager.
of, okay.
Yeah.
But he says VH1 is doing a tribute for Marcus at the Apollo, and they want the real deal to perform.
Hmm.
Um, he says Floyd has already said yes, and Lewis is like, "Well, then I'm out."
Right.
So after that, we see him. Oh well, the manager brought
Hmm.
in his little crew with bats and all kind of stuff, ready to take him down. So then we see him on the bus, all beat up because they got him. They don't show him get got, but we know he got. And he goes into his apartment and he sees Floyd in there snooping around.
Hmm.
So he walks up behind him, and when Floyd turns around, he punched him right in the face.
Oh, did.
And Floyd was smiling, looking happy to see him. Oh, but he knocked him out.
Mm.
And Floyd gets up like, "You knew it was me." And Lewis said, "You should have called first." And Floyd like, "How I'm gonna call? You don't have a phone."
Right. Said, who ain't got no phone? Back
Right.
then it was a landline. But
Mm-hmm.
y'all get the gist.
Right.
So Floyd is there to convince him to perform.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Floyd needs something to
Yeah. Yeah.
some excitement in his life.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure Lewis done had enough excitement.
Right.
He just probably want to lay low.
Okay.
And so he says no again. And Floyd is like, "I'll give you half, or we can split the money half and half."
Yep.
And he like, "What money?"
Mm-hmm.
He said, "They pay for funerals. They
Right.
pay to
They
perform
don't pay for
funerals."
you. Right.
And I forget the number that he gave, like 40,000.
40,000.
Okay. And so he's like, I'm gonna need more than half. And we
Mm-hmm.
all know, we've seen Floyd got it made.
Oh
So
yeah.
he like, all right, cool.
No, he not like all right,
Oh wait,
cool.
he not. You're right. I said that because he ultimately agreed. But then he
Okay.
went off on this long, and I'm gonna say, mother effing rant
Okay.
because that's
Yes.
the word he used the most.
Mm.
And then after his rant, he agreed.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a lot because Floyd, like we said, Floyd got Lucchini, okay? He got some money.
Hmm.
Lewis obviously does not. But Lewis talking
Right.
about, well, I need more than that to maintain my lifestyle. And his apartment is disgusting. Okay? It
Right.
is gross. I thought about that when Floyd hit that floor. I was like, poor thing.
Ugh.
Okay.
Mm.
And so Floyd calls him filthy and says, you got a pantry full of dog food and I don't see no dog.
When he said that, I said, "Oh, he done really fell on hard times."
Okay. But he don't act like it, right? He fine with
Right.
it. I mean,
Right.
to,
Cause he
to an
been through
extent.
some things.
Yeah. So yeah, that's when Lewis was like, we're gonna have to do a 60-40. And yeah, he got cussed right on out. But Floyd didn't care. I mean, Lewis didn't care. He let him leave out,
Hmm.
and Floyd had to come back.
Hmm.
Yeah. And be like, all right,
Fine.
he gave him a good old, cussing.
He sure did. And Journey Mac is good for.
Yes, he is. So, but yeah, he said he's gonna accept the deal, but then he going back to his fancy hotel. He gonna have a steak. He gonna get this. He gonna do that. He's trying to rub all of that in.
Yeah.
And he's like, and then I'll be back in the morning to pick you up at 6 a.m. for our flight. And Lewis says, I don't fly and I don't get up till 8. He ain't care about nothing Floyd said, okay?
Right.
He's not
Mm.
impressed. Even though he came over to the 60-40 deal, he like, well,
Right.
you gonna come over to some other things too.
Mm. Right.
Ah. So Floyd leaves in a huff.
Mm.
So then we see the agent that called Floyd in his office, and he has an intern named Philip, who look a little old to be an intern actually, but but he's excited about the real deal. And so they just show us that little scene because the intern is gonna show up some more throughout the film. But
Hmm.
then we see the real deal on the road, and Lewis just casually pulls out a gun.
Casually.
Yeah, they're riding down the street. It's just out in the open. Anybody can see it.
Right.
Floyd asked him if he could see the gun.
Cause he said, "Ain't that the gun you pulled on me?"
Oh, I didn't know that. Don't guns look alike?
Uh,
But yes, he
no,
did.
I don't know.
I mean, just from the movies, I mean, a 35 is a 35, right? I mean, it's black. I don't know either because I ain't never held a gun, but I watch movies with guns. But so he lets him see the gun while he's
Hmm.
driving. He pointing, talking, driving, all of this,
Yeah, he
and
like, I got this. I know what I'm doing.
and he does not,
At all.
because he accidentally shoot the thing, and next thing you know, it's chaos on the road because
Mm,
he all over the place,
right.
and it's a miracle that
Right.
they didn't crash.
Yep, because he done spooked his own self.
Okay, so you like you didn't have the safety on? You gave me the gun without the safety?
Mm,
Hmm.
That's why you don't need to be driving and holding no gun.
No,
10
come
and
on.
2, sir.
Damn
10 and 2.
it. That's funny.
Mhm. And so their first stop for the night is in Arizona.
Hmm.
And it says they have 4 nights before the Apollo. And they get out of the car. And Lewis looks up and sees their name on the marquee.
Hmm.
And he like, what is this?
Yeah.
And Floyd's like, I got us a gig. We need some practice.
Exactly. Yep. He said we
Makes
ain't been on the
sense.
stage in over 30 years. So
Right.
it
Makes
does make
sense.
sense. Hmm.
Hmm. So they get together and do their first performance, and they got some moves, right?
Yeah.
But they sound pretty rough.
Yes. And the moves are kind of rough too, because Floyd talking. They get a few in there, but then
Yeah,
Floyd his hip bob on them, and so
right. And
oh,
then
but
this
though,
random audience member comes on the stage, and they
yeah, he's
bump
drunk.
into him, and it just messes the whole performance up.
Yeah, because Lewis punched him in the face. Not they didn't just bump into him. Lewis like, "What you doing up here?" Bow. So, and don't forget to mention, Floyd pulled out some 30-year-old suits for them to wear.
He sure did. And we know what happens to everybody in the 30-year time span, right?
Okay, your
Don't
clothes too
nobody wear
little.
the same size.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Too tight, too little. Okay. I mean, they did
Yep.
pretty good though, just getting it on.
Yep,
They
that's
weren't
true.
terrible, but yeah, there was some tightness going on.
Yep, because one of Floyd's suit buttons popped off and hit
Mm-hmm.
somebody in the eye.
Got him. Dude's like, I'm gonna sue you. I did want to mention that Bernie and Sam are really singing. I just
Oh
want to
yeah.
put that, little piece in there. They perform, you would think they're not singers. They're going to have somebody, they're going to do a voiceover. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
They sing for real.
Yeah.
I'm
And
not
that's
surprised
awesome.
that Bernie could sing some, but I was
Yeah.
surprised about Samuel L.
Uh-huh. He said I can carry a note.
Uh-huh.
So after they performed, they sat at the bar and they got into an argument.
Yeah.
And Lewis goes off on Floyd saying Floyd slept with his woman.
Mm-hmm.
And they end up arguing about it the next day as well.
Yeah. While they're on the
Floyd,
road.
uh-huh. Floyd ended up marrying her. He says she broke my heart too.
Mm-hmm.
And Lewis is like, well,
They're
that's
good.
some comfort. Right? That's what you get.
Right. Stole my woman. Stole
Uh-huh.
your girl.
And then we find out Floyd been married 4 times.
5 times.
No, I was gonna say 4 times
Oh,
since
okay. Yes.
Odetta, who is the
Yes.
woman that they were arguing over.
Right.
Floyd likes the
Oh,
ladies.
yeah. Without question. And the ladies love Floyd, obviously.
All right. That's true.
Ah,
And so they have to change a flat tire. And they're on the side of the road having this conversation. And Floyd decides, you know what? I'm going to try this gun thing again.
like, why, sir? Why?
Right. And so he accidentally shoots the tire that Lewis is changing.
Yes.
He don't need to hold nobody else's gun.
Not at all. But look, I want to go back a little bit. You know
Hmm.
me. And so when they're in the car and they're talking about Odetta,
Hmm.
Lewis says, he says, some things are etched in stone. You're not supposed to dig for diamonds in another man's mine. I thought that was a good. I was like, okay. But he also, Floyd says, you have to take some responsibility because you were smoking and drinking and doing all this stuff. And she ran over to me talking about, hold me,
Mm,
Floyd. And so Lewis says, well, you didn't have to marry her. I was like,
mm.
wow.
Sure didn't.
So I don't know what Odetta had, but she had it because both of them dudes was crazy about them some Odetta. Okay.
Uh-huh. And so, in the midst of all this, their old song comes on the radio.
Yep.
as a tribute to Marcus.
Mhm.
And they have a little moment where they bond and do some dancing, showing off
Yeah.
their moves because they
Right.
need this practice,
Okay.
whether it's on the side of the road or not.
Right.
And so next we see them arrive in Amarillo,
Mhm.
and they are performing once again,
At some kind of honky tonk bar, I want to say.
called Rockin' Rodeo. And they do look a little bit better
They do.
than they did the previous night.
It's funny
And
too though, because they look so out of place. They're the only probably black people in the place. And they got on their little suits. Everybody
Mhm.
else got on cowboy boots, shorts, and cowboy hats and stuff.
Yeah,
So it don't even seem like the type of music that would be playing in there, but they having a
right.
ball. Everybody having a
They are
ball.
having, yes, exactly. And Lewis jumps off the stage. He does some line dances with the
Mm-hmm.
folks.
Yep.
Um, and so it seems like they got their groove back.
Yeah.
And when they're done performing, Lewis says Floyd pulled an Al Green.
Mm-hmm.
What did he mean by that exactly? Because I was confused a little bit.
So I wouldn't know what he meant if he didn't go into it a little bit. So he was talking
Hmm.
about the fact that Floyd went out for an encore before the people
Hmm.
even asked for an encore. So that must be something Al Green does that we wouldn't
Okay.
know anything about because that's
And I
before our
guess
time.
did they show him do the encore?
No.
Okay, because I was confused by that as well.
Okay. Okay.
Because I would have thought they would have showed that
I
if that was
gotcha.
something they were gonna fight over.
Yeah, I gotcha.
And so while they're arguing and talking or whatever, there's a lady making googly eyes over to Floyd
Yep.
because Floyd is a ladies' man
Mm-hmm.
and he needs to go get his little blue pills.
Yep.
And Lewis is like, you know, those little blue pills make you go blind. And Floyd don't care
Not at all.
at all.
He said, listen, sacrifices have to be made sometimes. That's pretty much.
Right.
Ah.
We see him with this lady in the bedroom
Mm-hmm.
getting ready to get it on. And she's like, I've never been with anyone like you.
Yep.
And he's like, oh, you never been with a black man?
Yeah.
And she says, I've never been with someone so old.
Yeah.
I looked at her and thought, but you old too.
Okay, ma'am. She like I'm young, I guess.
Right.
He said, you ain't no teen queen.
Right. She was tripping.
Uh-huh. Next they have their whole little raunchy scene here,
Hmm.
which I thought was funny because I was like, I don't remember this movie being raunchy like this. So
Right.
tells you how long it's been since we watched it.
Right.
But yeah, so they have their little moment and they getting it in.
So the next morning, Floyd goes out on his balcony and he trying to act like he the man and
Mm-hmm.
they've been going at it all night. And he,
Right, because he sees Lewis across the way on his balcony.
uh-huh. And the next thing we know it, a younger woman comes out of Lewis's room
Mm-hmm. Much
and
younger,
wraps
like
her
20s.
right. And she wraps her arms around him and I don't know how it happened, but she looks across the way and she is like, Mom!
Yep.
So they done slept with the mother and daughter.
Right. So, yeah, they on the balcony, they realize they both in there with these dudes, and then the dad knocks on the door, yelling.
Mm,
And so, the guys end up jumping off the balcony, which was one of the most unrealistic things in the film.
unrealistic. Thank you. I thought the same thing. Y'all on
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
story and y'all jumping off balconies and y'all supposed to be like 60.
Yeah. Florida said at
Uh,
one point that he was 67. So,
oh,
okay.
70 then.
All right. They jumping off second floor balconies. And Florida already got hip issues we've been talking about. I'm like,
Right.
okay, but we'll let y'all make it.
Right. So then they get to a point down the road where they need gas.
Mm-hmm.
And ain't neither one of them got no money. They
Cause
said they robbed us.
mm-hmm.
Ah, the mother and daughter robbing,
Okay.
robbing
I
them.
don't know if they're a little team or they're just doing this
Right.
individually.
Right.
Ah,
And so now they can't afford to get to the Apollo.
right. Because they only got a little bit of gas.
Right. But Floyd is like, I got an idea.
Mm-hmm.
And so they stop in Tulsa,
Yep.
which Amarillo to Tulsa seems pretty far for them not to need no gas, but
Oh, see, I don't know how far Amarillo is from Tulsa.
uh, yeah, maybe I'm wrong.
Oh, okay.
But I do think their timeline is kind of off in
Okay.
this movie.
I can see that because they on a road trip. They getting, traveling across country in
Right.
4 days. Yeah.
Yep.
So when they pull up to their house, Lewis turns and looks, and he's like, "Oh no!"
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And he tries to stop him from going to the door, and he jumps at Floyd, and Floyd kind of, I want to say, oh, he's talking about my heart, like
Right.
he
He
kind of
fakes a
faking,
heart attack.
uh
Yep.
huh, and tells Lewis to go get the medicine out of his bag, go get his heart medicine, and Lewis is
Mm-hmm.
like, "You got heart medicine?" And so yeah, that was all fake, so Floyd could get to the door.
Right. And so he gets to the door, and a young man answers, and he asks to speak to Odetta.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, well,
He says she ain't here,
right.
and he says, "Is she coming back?" And he said, "Not unless there's a zombie attack or something." I said, "Dang, you insensitive."
So insensitive. And so he calls Odetta's daughter,
Yeah.
Cleo, to
Mm-hmm.
come to the door. That's our Sharon Leal
Yep.
playing Cleo. And Floyd sees her and he like, Odetta had a daughter?
Mm-hmm.
How old is she?
Yeah.
Because he immediately started calculating
Mm-hmm.
if she could be his.
Yeah. And so I want to say that the dude that came to the door,
Mm-hmm.
he says, he tells them, he said, "Y'all coming in, y'all letting the heat out," which everybody's people do the same. But he said, "It's cold outside. Your arthritis is gonna kick up." Which was funny to me because he does
Yeah.
not know them, okay?
Right.
And he get
Right.
on them about being old.
Yep.
And so Cleo asks them, does her mom owe them money or something? Because what y'all doing here pretty much. So Floyd says to Lewis, "How old do you think she is?" And Lewis says, "I don't care. Let's go." And so Floyd goes in her purse to see her ID
Mm.
and says she was born in 81. And, that kind of more confirms for him that she could be his daughter. The guy that came to the door, we find out his name is Lester. He
Mm-hmm.
has a studio in the house, and he's back there rapping with his little buddies. And
Terribly rapping.
yes, and the guys go in there and they tell them that that's Lewis's beat that they rapping over.
Mm.
And Lester says, "Good artists borrow, great artists steal." I was like, okay. But
Wow.
that's a quote from somebody because Lewis knew, I think it was Picasso or something. But yeah. And so Lester goes on to say, because they kind of take offense to the fact that he using their bass line without their permission.
Permission.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so Lester's like, I don't care about your bass line. Here's what I think about it. And takes the album and breaks it in half, throws it on the floor, stomps on it, all of this. So of course they getting into it. But Cleo comes in, she breaks it up, yelling at
Mhm.
everybody. And Lester's like, "You gonna talk crazy to me in front of my boys?" And she look at him, she said, "Shut the F up." And
Right.
I was like, "Oh, she not studying you, she not scared of you."
Mm-mm.
So Lester, he starts to leave, and he tells them, he said, y'all can use my studio to make another hit. He said, I know y'all probably haven't had one since Ike hit Tina. I said,
Mm.
dang. I said, that's funny, but it ain't funny.
Right. Yep.
So I did think it was interesting that she invited them to stay, and she don't know them.
Right. Because at first she invited them to dinner, which I thought, okay, cool.
Okay.
But then she was like, I made up a bed for y'all.
Yeah.
And I thought, you don't know these
You don't
guys?
know them. No.
You ain't
Yeah.
never met them in your life just because they know your mama?
Yeah. Mm-mm.
You gonna let them sleep over? Come
Yeah.
on now.
No.
Nobody does that. I don't care
Uh,
what year it is. No.
okay. I would hope not. Anyway. Don't
Right.
don't come over here trying to talk about our mama trying to stay. It's not gonna happen.
Right.
But she does. They're having a conversation. She tells them that being on the road with them was some of the best parts of her mother's life, and she wishes that she could have seen it. And
Mm.
so Floyd invites her to come out on the road with them,
Yeah.
but she turns him down. So then, they got invited to spend the night. We see the guys in the bed together. And this is not a king size. I don't think it's a queen. It's a full, okay? And this was funny to me because I have personal experience with guy friends who will not get in the bed with another dude.
Right.
And when I first learned this, I was like soon out of college or recently out of college. And I was like shocked, really, because girl, women will get in the bed. We do not care.
So
Okay?
will. Mm-hmm. Long as I got a piece of the bed, I'm good.
We will get in the bed. We do not care.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, but them, I guess they old school. Maybe it was different because they right in their bed together. Okay. Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately, Floyd accidentally took one of his blue pills.
Mm-hmm. And Lewis got a rude awakening,
Oh,
and he
dear.
was too hot. He said he ain't nothing like that happened to him when he was in prison.
Right.
That
Yeah, that was too funny.
was funny.
And so, in the middle of the night, Lewis gets up and goes to the restroom. On his way back to bed, he can hear Cleo downstairs singing.
Mm-hmm.
She got pipes.
You think?
He can blow. I
Okay.
mean, that's what he thinking. That's what
Okay.
I. Dang.
Sorry, Sharon Leo.
Uh,
I was watching this thing like, the vocals are not vocaling. That's what I thought, but
ouch.
sorry, sis.
Well, Lewis thought she sounded good.
But you know how Lewis sounds, so okay.
Dang. That's messed up. So Cleo didn't have no money, but they had called Philip, the intern, because they were broke, and Philip found them some money.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, I'm gonna meet y'all in Memphis.
But he says he got $10,000 of his parents' money.
So I missed that.
Yes, I said, "Oh my goodness."
Philip
Okay.
is a ride or die. Philip
Yeah,
like, this my crew.
yeah, he loves them so.
He does.
That's true. He do whatever it takes.
Yep. And so they get ready to go, and Cleo is outside. When she turns around, she got a bruise on her face.
Mm-hmm.
They see her face and they like, oh,
They're like, "What happened?"
right.
And what she say?
They know what happened.
Mm-hmm. And she talking about nothing. I said, "That's just Prime evidence. Everybody know what nothing means.
All she ain't even try. She ain't say I tripped and fell.
Mm-mm.
Um, nothing. Mm,
Yeah, it's a
yeah,
dead giveaway.
right. And so Louis starts heading towards her boyfriend Lester,
Yeah.
and Cleo tries to stop him, and Floyd stops her. He like, gonna let him get this whooping.
Yeah, he did say that.
Yep.
Oh,
And so Louis beats him up
yeah,
in
he
front of
asked
his
him.
friends.
Oh yeah. He's like, "Why you hit her?" And
Mm-hmm.
Lester like, "What you gonna do about it?" And
Mm,
he got a gun. And he's like, "I'm the one with the gun." And Lewis took that gun from him so quick.
so quick.
It was like some Mission Impossible type moves, you know. Like I said, wait a minute, Lewis got some skills from somewhere.
Louis been around the block a few times.
Okay, because he took that gun and pistol whipped him, and dude was
Mm-hmm.
on the floor. Okay, crying like a baby.
Mm-hmm.
So embarrassing.
Right. But Louis made him give him all his money too.
Yeah, he dragged
And
him out pretty
he
much.
had to he had to pull his money out his junk.
Yes, and
And
but
so Louis looked at Floyd and was like, take it.
Floyd didn't
Floyd
want
was
to touch
like,
it.
ugh.
Uh huh.
But he finally took it.
But why did he sniff it?
Uh
I was like,
I
he
must
didn't
have
even want
blocked
to
that
touch
out.
it. Why would you sniff it?
Ew. That's
Crazy.
gross.
It is.
Gross. And so Cleo does end up riding along with them.
Yeah.
I guess they saved the day. And so
Mm-hmm.
she said, okay.
Yeah.
So they get to Memphis and they say they're playing at the House of Soul. And
Mm-hmm.
they get to their hotel.
The
And
Peabody.
okay, that's what I was going to say. Is it the Peabody?
Yes, that's where I had my prom.
Oh, I heard that. I had a field trip there. Hmm.
Hey.
We used to live in Memphis, y'all.
Yeah.
And so they get to the hotel and the attendant or whatever you call them at the front desk
Mm-hmm.
wants some ID. Floyd pulls out his AARP ID.
Right.
I said, dang,
Mm-hmm.
you ain't got no regular ID.
No.
And so when she looks his name up, she's like, oh, there's an incident from 30 years ago. And
Okay, the
we,
computer started beeping. Like,
right. And so they can't get a room under Floyd's name. So they ask for Lewis's ID.
mm-hmm. His
And
is
his
worse.
name blew up too. What you say?
I said, his is worse. They got pictures and everything from his incidents.
Right. Naked women and
Okay.
all kinds
Partying.
of stuff.
Yeah, they partying.
So, right. So Philip steps in because he's a square
Mm-hmm.
and he gets them rooms.
Yeah. So then they go meet up with all these other old performers. and
Basically.
yeah. And Floyd gets slapped by some woman. And she say,
Claudette.
okay, we don't know why. Did she say why?
She did say why. I wish she had.
Yeah.
I said, who is Claudette?
Mm-hmm. But she slapped him and said, "You going straight to hell." And so
But
she was like,
knowing Floyd, he was up to some of his ladies man shenanigans.
true. No telling. And so we find out she was the background singer. And so now, they like, we don't have a singer now.
Mm-hmm.
And so they recruit Cleo.
Yep.
So this time they performing and they sing some song and Floyd got all the moves. Okay. He's so funny. Um, but he doing this falsetto that I thought was
Mm-hmm.
hilarious.
He was getting down. He really into it now.
He was. After their performance, Cleo says that Isaac Hayes says he has a song for her.
Hmm.
And they like, you better watch
Don't
out for
fall
that
for it.
one. Okay. Watch out for that one.
Right, which I believe probably happens a
Me
lot,
too.
right?
Oh, for sure. Yes. So then outside, the intern is out there. Oh, Philip. I call him the intern. But Lester walks up and he's like, "Is that the real deal's car?" Philip was like, "Yeah." He's like, "I'm the manager." But what's his name? Whatever Lewis did to Lester was serious, okay?
Tow him up.
Yes, because he in some big giant cast, his arm up
Right.
in the air.
Yep. Tow him up.
Woo! And so, but yeah, talking to Philip, and Philip was like, "Yeah, because he asked him if he knows where they are."
Mm.
And yeah, Lester shows him his gun.
Mm.
Like he mean business.
Right.
Lester is over the top, but he is funny to me.
He is. Afion Crockett
Yeah. It's
plays
some
a good
lines in
Lester.
there. Yeah. He funny to me. So up in Cleo's room, Floyd starts going on about, her mother never telling him about her. And she looking like, and she says, "Okay, you are not my father." And
Mm.
he's shocked because he done convinced himself, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And so she said her father knows about her. He even set up a trust for her with his music royalties.
Ooh.
Right, because earlier in the movie, like at the beginning, when Floyd is at Lewis's apartment, he they talk about he's like, "Why you don't have any money? I got this much for my royalties and blah blah blah." And Lewis says gambling debts or something like that. He
Mm.
gambled it away.
Mm.
And so
Mm.
yeah, he's like putting two and two together, like
Right.
music royalties. And so he on his way to see Lewis after that.
Right. And so he goes to Lewis's room. Like you say, he putting the math together
Mhm.
and he confronts him because if you think about the time of when she got pregnant,
Mhm.
they were still together,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah. So yeah, so not only does he confront him, as soon as
Mhm.
Lewis opens that door, he sucker punched him. So it's funny because he got sucker punched earlier, and
Mhm.
now and now Lewis getting his. But he said, "You knocked up my wife."
Mhm.
And Lewis said, "You
But
stole up
Floyd,
for me first."
but Floyd been living that good life,
Mhm.
right? So he
Yeah.
is no match for
Oh
Lewis.
no, not at all. Not at all.
And he just making it too hard on himself and
Yeah.
gets himself wrapped up in the curtain
Yeah.
and wear himself out.
Uh
And
huh.
finally, he's like, time out. And they not even fighting.
Right. Because Lewis protecting him pretty much. Because if
Right.
Lewis was to fight him, he'd be done.
Exactly.
Hmm.
And so he says, time out, and acts like he wants to talk to Lewis.
Yeah.
And then he sneaks a punch in his family jewels.
Hmm. Took
He
him
ain't
down.
fighting fair.
Right. Took him down. He got to get them low blows because that's all he can get.
Right.
Ah. But Lewis does say he didn't mean for it to happen.
Right.
Like, you
Hmm.
know how she was.
I mean, we do know how she was, right? If
We
she,
do.
from what they saying.
Uh-huh. She going back and forth between them.
Mm.
That's enough
Oh,
for us
Dutta.
to know. Uh-huh.
Mm-mm-mm.
And so Floyd is like, "Why don't you want to, see your daughter?" Lewis thinks that she's better off without him, because he been on drugs, he been in jail, he feels
Right.
like he's bad news.
Yep.
So somehow, I don't know how, but oh, maybe okay, because I'm like she overhears, and I'm like, how
Right.
did you just end up in the room?
Right. So they look up and see that Cleo is in the room with them.
Mm-hmm.
But she also has like the hotel manager
Yeah,
or something like that. So I
yeah,
think all the commotion of
yeah,
them fighting in the room
yeah.
caused them to go check on the guys.
That makes
And
sense.
so she storms off. because she heard everything that they were just saying.
Mm-hmm.
And then we hear the hotel manager say, "Call security."
Okay. They said we knew we shouldn't have let y'all come up here.
Right.
Because they done tore that room up.
Hmm. And so they leave and they get down to their car, and Lester's there with
Mm-hmm.
a gun.
Yep.
And Lewis has gotten behind the wheel of the car at this point. And so he ran Lester right on over.
He ran him over. He didn't, go under the car. He went on top of the car,
Right.
but he
Right.
still got hit because how you gonna
Yep.
point a gun at somebody in front of the car? You just
Yep.
making all kind of bad decisions,
Yep.
sir.
Lester don't know what he doing.
But Lewis does. He's like, oh, you ain't gonna shoot me.
Right.
And so not only does he run him over, he get out and go over to him, take his gun away again.
Hmm.
And so this was funny to me too because Lester calls them Jim Brown and Fred Williamson. He said two the hard way instead of three the hard way. If you know
He
your
also said,
go
"Oh,
ahead.
if you know your what, because I don't know.
I was gonna
I
say if
know
you
who
know
they are, but
your old school movies. Like I just did a video on black exploitation.
oh, okay,
Yeah, they had all them and they got one called Three the Hard Way. And so
oh, okay."
that was funny. But yeah, if you don't know what that reference is about, it might not be as funny to you, but yeah, it was funny.
But he also says, "Let me kill you one time at least."
Right. Like, dang, why these old dudes
Right,
keep
taking
tearing
him
me up?
out.
Yes. So, and we hear the cops coming in the background,
Hmm.
and they both of them get arrested.
Right.
I will say, maybe Lester went to the hospital though, because I was like, why Lester ain't in there too? But he might have was
Oh.
he did just get hit
Hmm.
by a car.
Right.
uh,
So they get arrested, they go to jail, and they make a note to let us know it's one day left until the Apollo.
mm-hmm.
And this was when I really said, how they gonna get from Memphis to New York City in one day? I
Okay.
mean, I guess if they literally talking about 24 hours, I guess you could probably make that drive. I didn't
Yeah.
look it up, but I just
Right.
thought um it's cutting it close,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And so now that they got arrested, I really think they cutting it close.
Right.
But Floyd does get out, but Lewis has some priors,
Yep.
so they keep him in jail.
He not even supposed to leave the state.
Right.
He on probation.
Right. And so there's a few things that have led Floyd to believe that Lewis is dying.
Oh yeah.
So he's like, "Oh, he had that coughing fit at our first performance.
Mm-hmm.
He had some kind of pills, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember what they were."
Yeah.
And so Floyd has some schemes working in his head.
Mm-hmm.
But while Lewis is still in jail, he takes a moment to call Cleo, but she doesn't answer. So
Yeah.
he leaves her this long message about, being her father and
Mm-hmm.
getting to know her or something like that. And,
Yeah.
he trying to do the right thing.
Because he got busted.
Cause he got true. Cause he got busted.
Yeah.
Cause yeah, he was fine living his life
He was.
without her. You right.
Because I think about when Floyd thought she was his and he was looking through her ID and stuff, and
Hmm.
Lewis was just like, "Come on, let's go." I'm like that, and he knew
Oh
the whole
yeah.
time. Yeah, he could have told
Yep.
Floyd.
Yep. That's true.
Yeah.
So he left her this message, and as soon as he hangs up the phone, we see Floyd come in with one of his guns. He tells this little deputy cop or whatever
Uh huh.
to open it, to
Yeah.
open the jail cell.
Hmm.
So Floyd done broke Lewis out of jail. And
Yeah.
Lewis look at the cop and he like, I'm a hostage.
Okay. He like, look, I don't have nothing to do with this.
Right. This is not my idea. This is a
Okay.
hostage situation.
Yes.
Proceed accordingly.
Okay. I'm innocent.
Right.
Well, right. Floyd risking it all just to
Risking it
perform at
all.
the Apollo.
Right.
Like, he just giving up on regular life
I
because
mean, he already had given up, right? When he
I
took them
know
sleeping
that's
pills and alcohol.
but dang, I mean, there's other shows.
Are there?
I know nobody. Yeah, I get it, but
Hmm.
you break
Yeah.
them out of jail.
Floyd is desperate.
Woo, that's a lot because you breaking them out. That means you gonna end up in there at some point.
That's
You
right.
gonna get caught. I don't want that jail life.
Me either. I ain't do it.
Mm-mm. I'm a hostage too.
And so they head off to the Apollo again.
Yeah.
They end up stopping at this little diner or burger joint or something, and they see Lester and his crew
Oh
eating.
yeah. Mhm.
And so they steal Lester's car.
Mhm. Because they know they want it, so they like they got to get out of that car.
Right.
They, they take Lester's.
Yep. And so the next day they hear something beating in the trunk,
Yeah.
trying to get out. And Lester done put Philip in the trunk,
Mm. Oh, little intern.
in
No,
his trunks,
no,
because
make
he
sure.
looked like he
Right.
only he
That's so
only
true.
had his trunks on.
Right.
In the trunk with his trunks. Why did y'all strip him? I
Yes.
do want to know.
Right. Maybe so he couldn't escape. I mean, you could still escape, but I don't know. No.
Right. And so now they're fugitives.
Mm-hmm.
And in New York City, the agent, Danny, sees them on TV
Mm-hmm.
and he gets a call from Philip because they need some help.
Yeah.
And he like, you're fired.
Okay. He's like, I'm not helping them fugitives, and you fired. Okay.
Right.
Not helping you
And
either.
they off the show.
Okay.
And Floyd has a breakdown because, well,
Yes.
as we know, he holding on by a thread.
Okay. He
The
is
show is all he
distraught.
got.
Yes.
Ah,
Lewis is
and
fine.
Lewis, right? And Lewis trying to help him. He like, we can still make it.
Yeah,
That was nice of him.
it was.
Ah,
He
so they
knows how
head on to
important.
the Apollo. Yeah, he can. You know, when you see a man break down like that, you be like,
Yeah.
ooh,
Right.
what can I do to
What
help?
can I do? Right. Uh,
So they head on to the Apollo, even though the police are looking for them. And
mm-hmm.
as expected, the cops have the place surrounded.
Yep.
And I wish they showed us how they snuck in
Yeah.
because I really want to know.
Uh-huh.
Because yeah, the place is surrounded and they sneak in and they find Danny inside, and Danny's like,
Right.
y'all not playing, y'all
Uh-huh.
going to jail.
Uh-huh.
And Floyd is like, man, can I talk to you for a minute? And I
Mhm.
thought, no, you cannot.
You
If I was
can.
Danny,
I just saw you break him out of jail on TV. Mm-mm.
right? There ain't nothing for us to talk about.
Right.
And so Floyd tells Danny that Lewis is dying
Mm-hmm.
and if he could help him buy him some time.
Yeah.
And so he, pulls at Danny's heartstrings and Danny agrees.
Yeah.
He's like, okay, I'll buy y'all some time. Then we go back into this little um, dressing room and Isaac Hayes shows up.
Mm-hmm.
Did we talk about him when he showed up earlier?
No. What do you mean? I mean, we talked about him being at the show
Okay.
with Cleo.
Yep. So he shows back up at the Apollo and he wishes them luck and he says something like, I got somebody here that wants to talk to y'all.
Mm-hmm.
And behind him is Cleo. Everybody pretty much clears the room and
Yeah.
they give Cleo and Lewis some time alone. And so she apologizes for running off. And I thought, now why are you apologizing?
Okay, sis, it's not your fault.
It is not your fault whatsoever.
He
For
been
you to
cutting up.
need a moment to gather your thoughts and
Yeah.
feelings and all of that. You just found out this man is your father, and you 30 something, I don't know, years
And
old.
not only that, he been all up in the house. He knows who you
Yep,
are. He ain't said a word.
ain't said a word. And so after she apologizes, then he apologizes as well.
Mm-hmm.
And, they seem to have made up, but then he collapses in front of her
Mm.
and reaches for his pills.
Yeah.
And so Floyd walks in thinking he's dying, right?
Right. Yeah.
Floyd is like, oh, this is it.
Yeah.
And Lewis like, what you talking about?
Yeah.
And Floyd is like, somebody he knows, his aunt or whatever. He's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
what'd he say? Do you remember?
He said, I don't remember who, but he said they took these same pills
Yep.
and they were dying. You
Yep.
know, is it Lewis that says? Well, you can also take those pills for
A bladder
urinary
infection.
bladder infection, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Right. And so he's totally fine.
Yes. He tells him he got what is it called? Them stones. It's
Kidney stones,
kidney
maybe?
stones. Yeah. So
Yep.
he's just in pain, but he's fine.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. And so Floyd done blew it all out of proportion
Mm-hmm.
and got folks thinking that Lewis is dying.
Right.
Now that we know he not dying, does Danny find out? I'm trying to figure
I
out.
think Danny was there too. I think.
Okay. And so Danny like, oh, he fine? This is over with. And so they start running and trying to find somewhere to hide.
Yeah.
They end up in this dark room, or so we think.
Yeah.
And one of them has like a lighter or something that he turns on. And they are in the casket with
In
Marcus.
in the casket.
How did that happen?
Right. Thankfully, Marcus has this huge casket that's shaped like a
Yep.
piano, like a baby grand or a grand, and so
Hmm.
there's room for them. So they
Right.
hide in the casket with Marcus.
Right. And so they start talking bad about him and
Mm-hmm.
probably saying all this stuff they wanted to say to him back in the day when he went solo.
Right.
And then they notice his jewelry.
Mm. Terrible.
Terrible. They robbed the corpse.
Okay. Golly.
Literally robbed the corpse.
Now Lewis, he broke, so I give him
Right,
a pass.
right,
But not you, Floyd.
right.
Mm-hmm.
And so he and Floyd are talking, and Lewis is like, you know what? I'll split the money 50-50 with you.
Yeah.
And Floyd is like, actually, there is no money.
Right.
They do not pay to perform at funerals.
Right. This is hilarious.
It is
But
hilarious.
I bet
Hmm.
somebody is paying for people to perform at funerals. Because when you told me that people get paid to perform at church, I had never heard of such. And so if
Yes.
people getting paid for worship service, I definitely believe somebody getting paid for the funeral. Okay?
I agree. I agree. Nope. I think you're right on that. And so outside of the casket, you can hear an announcer, announcing that they finna show Marcus in his casket.
Yeah.
And the crowd goes wild when they see the real deal sitting in the casket with
Right.
him. And I thought that was crazy.
It is crazy. Like, this is a funeral. The man is dead.
Yep.
But, I guess. I mean, if y'all so excited, why y'all ain't buying their records and stuff? But that does happen, People
Uh,
I could think of some old stars, that were hot at a moment and then their
yeah.
career fall off and people
Yep.
still happy to see them. So,
Yep. And so now the cops are moving in, and Danny is like, let them sing one song.
yeah.
And the cop is like, all right, but it better be good.
You know what that remind me of?
What?
Five Heartbeats. Why
Oh,
don't y'all sing something?
oh, 5 heartbeats. I got nothing but love.
Yep.
Mm-mm.
Oh, that just reminded me of that.
They, of course, put on a fantastic show.
Mm-hmm.
Them few little rehearsals that
There
they
you
did
go.
paid off.
Okay. They back in business.
Right. And so, you see the cops are even in the background jamming along. But then when Danny looks at him, he like, get it together.
Right.
Just one song. And then we see it. That's it. Like, that's kind of it.
Yeah.
We get an epilogue, which movies don't really do that these days. Do they?
Hmm.
I feel like that's something you don't see much.
So when you say epilogue, are you talking about when the credits start?
Yeah, and they give you snippets
Okay.
of
Yeah.
what happened after.
Right, right, right. Yeah.
And
That is
so they,
unusual.
yeah, and so we find out that they both go to jail, but they get out on early behavior and they start singing again with Cleo as
Mm,
their lead and
yeah.
Philip as their manager.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's the real end.
Yeah. A happy ending.
Yep,
Because it could have just ended with them, spending the rest of their lives in jail or something.
true that. True that.
Because I'm sure that's a lifetime offense, I would think. Breaking into a
Mm,
jail with a gun. Uh, but
yeah.
Lewis was a hostage, though. So it's probably lower than what Floyd
Uh,
would have got.
right.
But Floyd, he was able to relive his old career, got his dream because that's what he wanted. He wanted to get the group
Mm-hmm.
back together, be back on
Yep.
top. Lewis didn't cash
Yep.
up, but it worked out
Right.
for him too.
Uh-huh. Now they singing again.
Yeah.
And Philip, even Philip worked out, got what he
Right.
wanted.
Yeah.
Because he's one of their biggest fans, if not the biggest. And
Right.
now he gets to be their manager.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I wonder what happened to Lester.
Oh, good
Oh, they
question.
left him in the dust.
So did. Mm, good riddance.
That's true. What was she doing with him anyway? They didn't even look
Right.
like they were a couple, like they
Right.
matched.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah,
Um, and so while the credits are rolling, we get a few bloopers, and then we get some behind the scenes conversations with Bernie Mac.
yeah.
And that's when I thought, oh, this must be
Mm,
one of his last performances. So they
yeah,
added this, I bet,
yeah.
after, because he wasn't talking about the movie; he was
Hmm.
actually talking about his comedy career.
Yeah.
And so I think they added that, you know,
To remember him.
as a tribute.
Yeah.
So that
Right.
was really nice.
Yeah. Oh, Bernie. Man, you think about, when people pass away that, you really love that's doing great stuff. You think about all the stuff they
Yep.
could still have done. Because
Yep.
I know him, his career was probably going to be crazy. Just
Yep.
like
Oh
Chadwick,
yeah.
you know,
hmm
Aaliyah, these people that just gone too soon. And you're like, dang. I mean,
Yep.
Bernie was older at least, but he
Yeah.
still had, a lot of stuff he could have done.
Right. Because he
Yeah.
wasn't really 67 in real life.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
You know.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay. So, what do you think about Soul Man? What's your rating?
um. That's a good question, Valerie.
Hmm. It's the question of the hour. The people want to know.
I think that this movie is pretty funny.
Hmm.
I thought the chemistry between Bernie and Sammy was great.
Yeah.
Sammy. Samuel L. Jackson. I thought,
Uh,
as expected, right?
yeah.
Bernie was a comedian as well. And Samuel, he wasn't the legend then that he is now,
Hmm.
but we still knew he had potential, right?
I think he
You
still.
think?
I don't know. I think he had been around a long time, even
Hmm.
before this, because you
Okay.
got Pulp Fiction, which
Oh yeah.
kind of. I don't know if I'm gonna say solidified his career, but it was huge in his career. Pulp
Yeah.
Fiction. Um, some other things that he has before this one. So, because he's been
Hmm.
around so long and has
Yeah,
done so much. So,
that's true.
yeah,
So they were just really great together.
yeah.
The story was cute. Them being former musicians together or singers together.
Hmm.
John Legend as their third, the actual true singer of the
Yes,
group,
so
in
cute.
real life.
Hmm.
Um, and so I would say this one's tough. That's why I'm talking so long. I'm trying to think and talk at the same
Right.
time.
She's trying to gather her thoughts.
Right. Um, I'm gonna maybe say four.
Okay.
Probably only because it's Bernie Mac. I mean,
Oh, okay.
the
He's
way
lit.
that he performs,
His physical comedy.
even his inflections,
Okay. Yes.
tonight,
Yes.
that kind of
Yes.
stuff.
Yes.
Even the way he just changes his voice on a word,
Yeah.
and that little bit of change makes it that much more hilarious.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, definitely.
And so I feel like I gotta give it a four.
Okay.
Um, because I want to give Bernie his props.
Okay.
And, I truly did enjoy the movie.
Mhm. Mhm. Okay.
I do want to say my husband does not like comedies,
Yeah.
but he happened to be in the room while I was watching it, and he got quite a few laughs himself and said, maybe comedy isn't so bad after all.
That's right. Get you some of these laughs.
Right.
Okay. Laughter is medicine.
That's right. So I'm going to go with four.
Okay. All right. Well, so I really enjoyed the movie. I'm gonna say again, if you're not into raunch, you may not want to watch
Mm.
this movie.
Yep.
It had a little more raunch than I, remembered.
Yep.
But if you can, get past that and you're okay with all the MFers and all of that go around, you'll be all right. You get you some laughs in here. I'm just throwing out that warning because I don't want you to say Valerie and Amanda told us to watch this and now so I want to give it. I'm torn too, but I'm more between 3 and 3.5.
Okay.
I enjoyed the movie. I know Bernie Samuel. I mean, love them both.
Yep.
Um, like you said, their chemistry is amazing.
Yep.
Bernie, I mean, just the way he looks sometimes, he just hilarious. It was a scene where they were coming out of a building or something and all these fans were around him and the way he was grinning and jumping around, I laughed so hard because it was
Yeah.
just hilarious.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, the storyline, it's totally believable, right? The
Yep.
singing group
Yep.
breakup and they mad at each other, sleeping with the same woman, all that stuff is totally, we know that happen all the time. I feel like
Right.
so that part's believable. Cleo and her boyfriend to me not believable because she
Mm-hmm.
seems so, I don't want to say mature, but I kind of want to say mature, and her
Mm-hmm.
boyfriend was not. Um and Afion Crockett, there's another podcast that we listen to where Afion got some flack for this role, and I
Oh,
think
really?
oh yeah, I talked to you about it a little bit. You probably forgot, but
Oh, yeah.
they
I
was
forgot.
calling it buffoonery and all of that kind of stuff.
Oh. Oh.
Uh-huh.
I already know from
Now
them
you know.
that word.
Hmm. And I hate it when
Mhm.
we do that. Okay,
Yeah.
so Avion's character was over the top, but it was also hilarious.
Right.
He had lines that had me cracking up. And but the thing about that is people don't do that when Jim Carrey cutting up. You know, Jim Carrey can
Mm.
do the
Ouch.
what's the animal what's that animal show he does, or the cable guy or whatever.
Ace Ventura, Pet
Ace
Detective.
Ventura, yes. And they do Dumb and Dumber. Nobody
Yep.
cares. You laugh or
Yep.
you don't laugh. You like it or you don't, but he not considered a buffoon. You know what I mean?
Right.
He not
Yep.
considered to be cooning, right?
Oop.
You know,
Yep.
these words that we use. So I just want to throw that out, because I think Avion did a good job. And not only
Hmm.
that, there is a director. If he was doing something they didn't want him to do, I'm sure they would have calmed him down, you know?
Mm. Right.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's probably how they wanted him to perform.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So, all of that being said, I know I'm doing like Amanda. Um, I'm trying to think of what I did not like. Was what I did not like enough to make it a 3, or should it be a 3.5?
Mm.
Yeah. So let me go with. I'm gonna go with the. Okay, I'm coming up with it. Let me go with the 3.5.
Good answer. No.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with 3.5. Um, and I think this movie did not do well, actually, at the box
Mm.
office. But a lot of movies don't do well that are still good.
Right.
Um,
Sure.
so yeah, we're gonna go 3.5. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I've seen this movie a number of times. It's just been a while since I've seen it, and so, but yeah, I enjoyed it. It's funny.
Awesome.
What else you got?
Nope. I was just looking at the box office numbers. It made $12 million,
Mm-hmm.
which
It's
I
nothing.
guess. Yeah, I can't find what the budget was, but I assume it was less.
I don't think they IMDb used to tell you all that stuff.
Yeah.
I think now you have to have the premium subscription to get that info.
Oh man.
Mm-hmm. They straight tripping.
Mhm. But yeah,
You
really
want
good film. If y'all wanna watch it, like she said, don't blame us if it's a little bit raunchy, because we did warn you.
we did. Oh
But
well,
it is also pretty funny.
it's pretty funny, yeah. I just looked up Soul Man budget and it came up 40 million. Yeah.
That don't even sound right.
I don't know.
In 2008,
It's possible. Yeah, movies are expensive. Not only
40
well,
million, and they only made 12. You're right. That is
yeah.
a blizzard.
So
Ah,
right, if those numbers are accurate, but
yeah.
yeah. Mhm. Yep.
Hmm.
Yep. I'm seeing it multiple times. Budget 40 million, box office 12.3 million.
Yeah, I
So
see it on Wikipedia. Oh man,
they can't all be winners.
I know.
And sometimes it depends on what they came out with too. If you had say you came out and Jurassic Park come out the same weekend,
Right, that's true.
you don't stand a chance. So
That's
I don't
true.
know what they came out against, but it's possible that could have had something to do with it. Because this is back in the day of bomb movies coming out all the time. Right now
Yeah.
we slow. It's slow
Oh,
out here these days.
yeah.
Yeah. But I will say, Captain America is out, y'all. Go see Captain America. Support our boy. What's his name?
Our boy,
Anthony
huh?
Anthony Mackie. Yeah, he our boy now.
He can't even remember his name.
Anthony Mackie. I got it.
That's right, y'all. Go support Anthony Mackie and
Yeah, it's a big
your,
deal.
get your Marvel fix.
Mm-hmm. All right, you want to close us out?
All right, everybody, you know what to do. If you like what you heard, go ahead and hit that subscribe button
Mm-hmm.
and leave us a 5-star review.
Yeah.
Go on and catch us on our socials.
Mm-hmm.
Sisters at the Cinema on both TikTok and Instagram.
Yeah,
And
y'all.
see what it's all about. Tell your friends. Tell your family.
Mm-hmm.
Tell all your loved ones.
There you go. And the ones you don't love, tell them too.
That's right. We can entertain them too.
We need all the listeners we can get. Come on.
That's right. Y'all know what to do. It's Black History Month, so
Yep.
we got one more movie
Yep.
to review for y'all for the month, and we're gonna try to make it a good one.
Yeah. So come back next week and see what we got for y'all. Wrap up Black History Month. And not only that, so we have decided that this is going to be our first season. And so the
Mhm.
next episode is going to be the last one of the season.
Yeah,
And so after that, we're going to take a little break. And then we'll be back with season 2 for y'all.
that's right.
All right, y'all. We're getting out of here. Bye.
Bye.